news from Molfix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
Pants is just for me. It really feels very comfy.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
This is NTV.
Good afternoon. Thank you for making time for NTV at 1. My name is Gladys Gachanja, and we start off this bulletin with Martyrs, Nairobi County, and Anne Kananu Mwenda is set to be sworn in any moment now as the Deputy Governor of Nairobi County. Now, this follows her approval as a nominee to the position. The vetting process early today was concluded in record time by a 10-member committee shortly after the High Court dismissed a case against Anne Mwenda's nomination. We're now joined by Seth Olale, who is actually on the ground, and he is getting all the chit-chat going on around the assembly. What can we expect? Will the inauguration, or rather the swearing-in, happen anytime now?
Well, right now, Gladys, it appears as if organizers are trying to, make sure that everything goes according to script in terms of preparation for this particular, let me call it, historic swearing in of Anne Mwenda as the Nairobi Deputy Governor. We're here at the KICC, just a few meters from the County Assembly of Nairobi, which this morning, like you said, Gladys, made a historic session by, approving Anne as, the qualified or the legit Deputy Governor for Nairobi in a record 30 minutes, thereby going ahead to also adopt this particular approval in a record 25 minutes. And what they're saying is that they're going to swear in Anne Mwenda at 2 p.m. But it will be interesting because of the laws governing the swearing in of, state officials. We're meant to understand that this particular function is supposed to be before 2 p.m. according to the law. But like you said, we are here at the Kenyatta International Conference Center where, organizers are supposed to just bring in the tools, or rather the instruments of power, to endorse and to hand over to Anne Mwenda, who is now the Nairobi Deputy Governor, at least according to that approval by the Nairobi MCAs at the County Assembly. What's happening right now, we're just waiting for, organizers, or rather protocol officers, just to put everything in order. We're meant to understand that the clerk for the Nairobi County Assembly, the speaker, those are the people who will be very instrumental in this afternoon's exercise. But as we stand here at the KICC Gardens, so far we've not seen chairs, tents being put up, and yet their sources are saying that this will happen by 2 p.m. It has to be by 2 p.m. at least according to the law. But so far, in terms of logistics, in terms of furniture, and in terms of the instruments of powers being brought here for, her historic swearing in, that we have not seen here at the KICC Garden. Yet, we've seen a lot of deployment in terms of Nairobi County askaris, or if you like, security personnel, just here to ensure that this particular event go on as as planned, and so journalists have been actually camping at the Nairobi County Assembly since morning, and of course following that interesting proceedings inside the Nairobi County Assembly. We are right now inside the KICC gardens, and we're just waiting for any moment from now just to see if at all this particular event will happen today. Of course, just to see Anne Mwenda walking in here and being handed the instruments of power. And right now there's a bit of activity. Of course, I can see now some members of the Nairobi County Assembly now coming at this particular direction. We're talking about the MCAs representing various wards in Nairobi. They were very instrumental in today's exercise. They are the ones by majority who actually approved Anne Mwenda as the bona fide Nairobi County Deputy Governor. They're going ahead to endorse her, or rather to approve this particular motion right inside the Nairobi County Assembly. And so those live pictures you're seeing from the Kenyatta International Conference Center, and where we are expecting any moment from now, it might be minutes, it might be an hour, for Anne Mwenda to be actually now sworn in as the Nairobi County Deputy Governor. And so this particular exercise, as I said, took a record 1 hour. We're talking about both approving and endorsing her by the Nairobi County MCAs. And so we're just standing here just to see how this particular historic event will unfold in minutes to come. But of course, security has been beefed up. It was being beefed up right in the morning, right at the county assembly. But so far, we haven't seen any form of opposition, any form of heckling, any form of disorderliness here at the historic KICC grounds, meaning that this particular event might just go on uninterrupted. And like I said, you're going to catch all the live updates from NTV. And of course, I'm here with my cameraman, Eric Isinta, just to get a glimpse of this particular exercise and how it will unfold and what it will mean to the Nairobi residents. And of course, first things first, today is just the swearing in of the Nairobi County Deputy Governor and other matters in regards to will she eventually be the governor of Nairobi. Those are some of the issues we'll be highlighting in our later bulletins. Gladys.
Okay, now Seth, before I let you go, definitely as you are saying, this is one vetting that will go down in history as being the quickest. But then again, even as we expect Anne Mwenda to actually be sworn in as Nairobi County Governor, does that mean the man who has been acting at the helm, that is Benson Mutura, will have to give way to her as the Nairobi Governor? We seem to be having a technical hitch with my colleague Seth Olale, who is at the KICC Gardens awaiting the swearing in of Anne Mwenda as the new Deputy Governor for Nairobi County. Now, definitely a lot of reactions coming from that, and we'll have the pictures and sounds coming from that ceremony in a moment. Well, something else that is actually making headlines across the continent, and that is the just concluded elections in Uganda. And there are reports that the home of Uganda's opposition leader Robert Kyagulanyi, alias that is Bobby Wine, has been surrounded by security officials ahead of a press briefing that he is set to give. This comes after the third update of electoral results by the Ugandan Electoral Commission that shows that the incumbent Yoweri Museveni in the lead with over 3 million votes accounted for. Commission Chair, that is Simon Mungenyi, has challenged the opposition leader to substantiate his claims of vote rigging. Seth Olale filed this report.
Attention has been moved to the Uganda Tallying Center in Chambongo as the third batch of presidential poll results have been announced by the Electoral Commission. Latest results from the Electoral Commission show incumbent Uganda President Yoweri Museveni in the lead from the 3 million votes counted so far.
Yoweri Museveni Tibuhaburwa Kaguta, 1,852,2 263, representing 63.92%. Kyagulanyi Sentam Robert, 821,874, representing 28.36%.
The results so far come from 29% of the 34,000 polling stations around the country. The leader of the opposition, Robert Chagulani, has said the vote has been marred with rigging, something the Electoral Commission challenged him to prove.
In law, we say the burden is upon him who asserts the existence of certain facts. So it is the onus is upon candidate Kyagulanyi to show or to prove in what context and how the results are rigged.
The Ugandan Electoral Commission chairman was non-committal on how the agency was transmitting results without nationwide internet connection, only saying that operations have not been disrupted.
We are not using his local internet to transmit our results. We are using our own system.
The hotly contested elections are the focus of the region, despite the internet shutdown, with the incumbent keen on extending his 35-year reign. Seth Olale, NTV.
And with some news coming from Uganda is that in a short presser at his home, opposition candidate Robert Kyagulanyi alias Bobby Wine has contested the results being released by Uganda's electoral body. He says he will, in the course of the day, make a full address on poll irregularities. Well, this is one story that we are definitely keeping an eye on, even as our colleagues in NTV Uganda continue to follow the tallying of those results very closely and letting us know what is going on. Remember, Uganda is awaiting to see the results of the just concluded general elections that happened in Uganda yesterday. So far, the numbers, according to the Electoral Commission, says that President Yoweri Museveni is leading and he is followed by his challenger, that is Bobby Wine. But as Bobby Wine said yesterday, and he has reiterated the same today, is that there was massive irregularities in the polls yesterday and the tallying of the same today, and he will give more details on the same. Details of that coming your way in our subsequent bulletins. Now back home, and the National Treasury has asked county governments to first utilize the 34.6 billion shillings currently lying idle at the Central Bank of Kenya as they await further disbursements from the Exchequer days after the Council of Governors threatened to seek legal recourse if Treasury does not release the funds. In a statement issued on Thursday, National Treasury CS Ukur Yatani says cash disbursements to counties had fallen behind by 2 months due to the economic slowdown associated with the coronavirus pandemic. Yatani, however, says county governments should make use of the balances at the CBK, which are part of the 133 billion shillings that has been disbursed so far. With the gradual reopening of the economy and the reversal of the COVID-19 tax relief measures, the National Treasury says it expects revenue collections to improve in the current quarter, and it will prioritize the disbursements to counties. And staying with the subject of the cash crunch being faced by the government, it has been a year since Ukur Yatani assumed office as Kenya's substantive National Treasury Cabinet Secretary. It has been 12 months of tax laws, amendment laws in early 2020 through the debt relief now being sought by the government. And Ukur Yatani's first full year has been really eventful. Now, Julian Samboko now does a stock take of the last 1 year and looks at Yatani's entry in the second year.
Ukur Yatani's first full year as Kenya's National Treasury Cabinet Secretary has been dominated by firefighting the COVID-19 crisis. Kenya's first patient was identified on March 13, 2020, just 2 months after Yatani's confirmation. The former one-term governor says it was a day that forever changed the course of his leadership at the ministry.
You know, in the past, When the problem was in China and there was some talk about it, not many people took a lot of interest in it. And if it happened, they thought this is a foreign kind of, challenge that we never thought it was going to come to Kenya, and that early. As soon as it came here, the same day we started having not only the health indicators that are going wrong, but also the economic indicators.
Unlike his predecessors, whose main focus upon assuming office has traditionally been the June budget, Yatani's entry was the first Tax Laws Amendment Act of 2020, through which COVID-19 relief measures were adopted, including a waiver of income tax on any persons earning 24,000 shillings and below. CS Yatani has stewarded the fiscal stimulus package adopted under the COVID-19 relief, which currently stands at 94 billion shillings, divided into two tranches, an initial 40.9 billion shillings chunk and another 53 billion. The CS says a key score has been the scaling up of cash transfers.
The number of the traditional cash transfer moved from about 200,000 to 1.3 million families, where they're getting 2,000 shillings at the end of every month. And these are basically the elderly, the severely disabled and orphan families.
Yatani's maiden budget on June 13, 2020 was not just big in size, but also on promises. The CS pledged to rein in the pending bill's burden that has been weighing heavily on the country, even putting out conscience-breaking appeals even before he was confirmed as CS.
Any sensible leader, any sensible manager, when you have asked somebody to paint your house, when you have asked somebody to provide you with food, and you fail to pay, what happens? Meaning you are crushing the aspiration jobs and the livelihood of that person. People are occupying those offices courtesy of the public. If you are now robbing the public by taking away the things that are refusing to pay, sometimes for over 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or even more, then government has a moral duty and obligation to step in.
Months later, many bills remain unsettled, lives and livelihoods thrown off balance as contractors continue to decry delayed payment by the government.
Going forward, the National Treasury may withhold exchequer releases to the MDAs or SAGAs with pending bills until an approved payment plan for all pending bills is agreed upon.
The former district officer has also had to eat the humble pie on behalf of the government as far as flip-flopping on whether Kenya will take up debt relief is concerned. What started in early 2020 as a refusal to take up debt relief packages has ended up in a U-turn as the country faces significant strain on its resource envelope amid the government's effort to put up a brave face amid echoes in the Treasury's coffers.
For our own situation, we are not very certain yet whether we are going to go for it, because the accompanying conditions are a bit tough.
This stance quickly changed as the country's tax revenue fell below target, and it was clear that the government needed breathing space to fund its spending plan. As CS Ukur Yatani now embarks on his second year at the Treasury, Kenya's vulnerability to debt distress is almost guaranteed to dominate policy formulation. Julian's Amboko, NTV.
Well, we take a short break here on NTV at 1, but before we do, remember we are all awaiting the inauguration of the Nairobi Deputy Governor, that is Anne Mwenda, after she went through a successful vetting in the Nairobi County Assembly. It has been termed as the quickest in history, and it looks like there's also other developments around the same, and reports coming in is that Okia Omtata has filed a notice to appeal the decision okaying the vetting of Anne Mwenda, as another petitioner files a complaint against Justice Anthony Charo Mrima of the High Court. That is, Okia Omtata has filed a notice to appeal decision okaying vetting of Anne Mwenda, as another petitioner has also filed a complaint against Justice Anthony Charo Mrima of the High Court. Well, a lot of developments happening around the expected swearing in of Anne Mwenda as the new Nairobi Deputy deputy governor. But we'll keep you updated as and when we get more details. As for now, we take a short break. We'll be back.
Maji mdosi wangu ametupa simu yangu ndani ya maji.
Mdosi wako kwa sawa? Venye Nkirota ameniambia ajui na akimpigia simu ashiki. Hi! Guy!
For the women who deserve more, Moped is now in Kenya and more than 40 countries. With its nylon-free surface, new Moped has unique softness and up to 100% protection. Your skin will love it.
New Year comes with New Year deals. Renew your corporate subscription and get a bonus. Subscribe to Nation e-paper for 3 months and get 1 week absolutely free. 6 months and get 2 weeks absolutely free. 1 year and get 3 weeks absolutely free. To sign up, visit epaper.nationmedia.com or email subscription@ke.nationmedia.com. Offer valid till 28th February 2021.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, the government claims that in-person learning has resumed by more than 90% across the country as the 2020 education calendar enters its second week. Principal secretaries continue to conduct visits to assess the COVID-19 preparedness of the learning institutions. Bridget Ngana with more.
In Kitui County, government officials say 1,000 out of the more than 3,000 girls reported to have been impregnated during the school shutdown period last year have since gone back to school, even as security organs continue searching for the men behind the pregnancy cases affecting girls between the ages of 10 and 19. Meanwhile, the northeastern Kenya region is struggling with low teacher numbers. According to the Teachers Service Commission, 5,149 teachers are needed to cover Mandera, Wajir, and Garissa counties. The government says it has already employed full-time and trainee teachers to bridge that gap, but that is yet to be fully felt on the ground.
Hivi kwamba tunapoongelea kuhusu haba wa walimu, unaona kwamba serikali imeweka juhudi ya kuhakikisha kwamba kuna ongezeko ya walimu 17,000 ambao wataingia kwa kusaidia kuendeleza shughuli ya masomo kwa shule zetu zote.
The ongoing practice of circumcision in Baringo County has led to a low turnout of boys in schools as parents took advantage of the pause in the academic calendar to have their sons go through the rite of passage.
My name is...
Special needs schools in Murang'a County have been lauded for their compliance with the COVID-19 protocols, with an apparent 4% of learners still missing from school, even as most schools lack infrastructure to allow for sufficient social distancing between teachers and learners, as the government exudes confidence that school attendance is now close to 100%.
Zoezi la kurudi shuleni kwa sasa hivi imefika karibu 90 na kitu, inakaribia 100% kwa mia. Ningependa tu kuchukua nafasi hii kushukuru wazazi wote ambao wamehakikisha kwamba vijana wao wamerudi shuleni, watoto wao wamerudi shuleni ili kwamba waweze kupata elimu ya kuweza kuwasaidia kwa maisha ya kesho.
The government says it has spent 19.5 billion shillings to ensure the resumption of the 2020 academic calendar, with teachers also receiving comprehensive insurance cover in the event they contract COVID-19. With proper use of the allocated funds, learners will definitely be able to surmount the myriad hurdles faced around the country. Bridget Ngana, NTV.
Still on education matters, the government has warned school heads to desist from increasing school fees, which may adversely affect the learners and parents. Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha, while addressing the media in Embu during the ongoing monitoring of school reopening, said increasing school fees is inhuman and punishment to children and parents who are already bearing the brunt of the effects of COVID-19.
The year 2021 is not the time to increase any school fees. I'm not going to name them, but if they don't walk back, some of them are in Nairobi, why should you be happy to punish children and parents during Corona? It's thoroughly inhuman. May I firmly plead with them to ensure that all those extra costs they are asking the parents to pay, perhaps they should not ask for now. In terms of people who are saying that the government has not given enough money, those people are also not being rational. The way the system works is that we pay tax and then the money is divided. If you have gotten a percentage of money, a substantial percentage of money that you are supposed to have received by now, why are you asking about the other half before you spend this one? Tell me why. It doesn't make sense, isn't it?
Away from that, police officers had a hard time controlling a crowd of people in Miga area near the Salga Black Spot. This is after food staff from a trailer fell out after the truck rolled several times. Anita Congo with the details.
What you're seeing here is a physical manifestation of the saying, when you see an opportunity, grab it and run. Armed with empty sacks, Molo residents flocked to an accident scene, not to help the victims, but to fill their carrier bags with goodies that had fallen out of the trailer. According to eyewitnesses, the truck lost its brakes as it headed to Nakuru from Eldoret, hitting a bus and ended up in a ditch. One person died and 7 others are currently receiving treatment at the Molo County Hospital. Residents say this is not the first time such an accident has occurred in the Miga area.
Juzi kulikuwa na lori ilianguka pale juu, the same karibu sio mbali, lori ikaanguka tena, ilikuwa na mechanical problem, ikarudi ikaanguka, ikagonga lori nyingine ilikuwa inateremka. Tena jana kulikuwa na lori tena ilianguka hapa ambayo iliua watu wawili, ambayo ilikuwa inabeba vitu ya kuku. Tena watu wawili wakafa. Before that day kulikuwa na lori tena ilianguka hapa chini. Leo tena lori imekuja, ilikuwa lose control na basi ilikuwa inaenda ikagonga.
Police officers struggled to control the crowds. The people said they've had a tough month and pleaded with the officers to allow them to grab more food.
Si mapenzi yetu watu wapate ajali, lakini barabara ya Mega inataka kuangaliwa. Sababu siku 3 inafuatana tumeona ajali. Lakini Maragwe kama ikikuja hatutawaacha, sababu tuko na watoto na wanataka kukula.
Unajua area hii hakuna chakula, alafu hata chakula ikuja, askari ikuja hapa hivi anasema askari anakataza chakula, hata muona pale hivi.
For those that managed to get away with the foodstuffs, January may not be a long month after all. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
The harsh reality we live in. Now to health matters, and Kenya records at least 1.2 million deliveries each year, of which 70% of the deliveries are in health facilities. According to the Ministry of Health's data, at least 20 mothers die due to childbirth complications daily. Helena Aura delivers that story.
With Kenya making strides to actualize the universal health coverage, the government has reported that maternal deaths have dipped since the launch of the Linda Mama program. The Ministry of Health, however, says Kenya is not yet out of the woods.
We have about 20 mothers dying every day due to childbirth complications. Just yesterday, you're all aware that just 4 people died from COVID within the country. Yet yesterday, the same day where we're looking at our COVID deaths and having 4 COVID deaths, we had 20 women dying.
Speaking during the launch of the Kenya Reproductive, Maternal, Neonatal, Child, Adolescent Health and Nutrition Multi-Stakeholders Platform, Health CAS Dr. Masi Mwangangi said the program will convene partners across to assist in some of the key challenges being witnessed, especially with the realization of the Millennium Development Goals and technological development.
26% of our children in this country are stunted. And there are a number of factors that can be attributed to this situation. We have factors that touch on poverty, we have factors that touch on food security, we have factors that touch on access, we have social and cultural barriers.
West Pokot County has also proved to be a challenge on suffering the vagaries of improper nutrition.
And one of the key things that this platform will be doing is to ensure that county governments and national government are able to actually implement their nutrition action plans. We have a county that has 46% of the children being stunted. It means half the population in that county are not, expressing their full cognition when it comes to, them being able to be productive members of society.
With the reopening of schools, the Ministry of Health has said it has formed various partnerships to ensure the children are protected. Helen Aura, NTV.
To some sporting action now. There is still hope for Kenya to have more boxers at this year's Tokyo Olympics, with July's repechage qualifiers in France. From the African qualifiers held in Senegal early 2020, only skipper and featherweight Nick Okoth, as well as flyweight Christine Ongare, booked tickets to Tokyo. The Heat squad has been in training ahead of the final shot at qualification after resuming practice in November following the COVID-19 shutdown. Then a two-week festive break in December. Now, Kenya had 3 boxers at the 2016 Rio Olympics: flyweights Benson Gisharu and Peter Warui, as well as middleweight Rayton Okwiri.
Qualifiers za Africa, on my side, weight yangu ilikuwa ni gold na silver ndio ilikuwa naenda. Mimi nilimanage kupata bronze. So natumaini God atanihelp nikienda France ni chukue tiketi ya Tokyo.
To the EPL, and Arsenal's 3-match Premier League winning reign came to an end last night after being held to a goalless draw by Crystal Palace at the Emirates. Both sides had chances to win the match. However, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was denied by Vicente Guaita before James Tompkins' header hit the
that the nominated deputy governor who was just approved by the Nairobi County Assembly, Anne Mwenda, to make her grand entry into this particular venue where the stage is set, as you can see, for her historic swearing in. And so, of course, also we have the members of the County Assembly who are just coming to be part and parcel of this particular event. We also have the ministers, the county ministers, Nairobi County government ministers, or if you like, CECs, who are also here to witness this particular inauguration in form of a swearing in. Remember, Gladys, I said that it has to happen before 2 p.m. We are right now at 1:30 p.m., 4 minutes. Actually, we are at 1:34 p.m., meaning they have at least 26 minutes to make this happen, and this is according to the law. So right now, the pictures you're seeing live on NTV at the KICC Gardens, we are waiting for the historic swearing in of Anne Kananu Mwenda as the Nairobi Deputy Governor. Remember that this particular county has not had a deputy governor for a very long time. And so it is going to be interesting to see the events that will happen in future. Does she automatically become a governor in the absence of the impeached Mike Sonko? What will happen from here? Of course, those are some of the legal aspects we're going to be looking into. And of course, you said it is also being noted, Gladys, that we had human rights activist Okiam Omtata moving to court to, contest this particular exercise done today by the Nairobi County Assembly. We also have another petitioner who also went to court to block this particular event from happening. But as it is, right here at the KICC Gardens, where systems go, we're not seeing any indication that this is not going to happen. And of course, look at the dignitaries who have already taken their positions. Look at the county government ministers present here. Remember that Anne Mwenda Kananu herself was the chief officer in the Department of Nairobi County Disaster Management. So she also has some experience when it comes to dealing with national disasters. I remember me doing an interview with her during the unfortunate incident at the Precious Talent School in Dagoretti. And I remember at that particular time, she was among the first respondents to arrive at that particular scene, of course, by virtue of her position being the chief officer of the Nairobi County government. Disaster Management Department, and also that is a time I actually had an opportunity to interview Anne Mwenda, but at that particular moment it never appeared, it never occurred that Anne would go on, proceed to, achieve the position of being deputy governor, not for any other county. We're talking about Nairobi County, the capital city of the country. And this, of course, is a massive, massive boost for her political career. And right now, what we're seeing is that we are having the county secretary of the Nairobi County just trying to make people, in as much as everyone is excited over this, everyone is waiting for this historic event, wanting to be part and parcel of it. People also have to be aware of the COVID-19 restrictions. We're talking about social distancing, which seems to be a bit of a challenge here, in as much as, we are at the KICC Gardens, which of course is an open ground, but of course you can see the crowds. And right now the protocol officers are just trying to ensure that, there is order in terms of social distancing, so that they can pave way for this historic event. However, they don't have much time. We're talking about 2 p.m. deadline according to the law. So they have about at least 20 minutes now for them just to make sure that everything is in place and that Anne Mwenda eventually makes her way, her grand entry into the KICC Gardens. And I can see some activity as far as, the judge who is here. You can already see the document that is supposed to be read by Anne Mwenda. Of course, that is the oathing article that has already been retrieved. And of course, we can see also the clerk. Like I said, I can see the speaker of the Nairobi County government. And it is all systems go, Gladys. And we are here. And NTV, of course, has been following this proceeding right from inside the National County Assembly, where she was approved in the morning. And the National Assembly went ahead to adopt that particular approval, meaning that Anne Mwenda, right now, in any minute from now, historically being sworn in as the Nairobi County Deputy Governor.